Good evening, my dear friends. The exciting news keep continuing. This week we were given something which doesn't happen very often in the world of ABBA or even with a lady's solo work, in that case Frida. The leak of completely unreleased songs. I hear you say you can't be serious, but I am. So let's dive into the thrilling event from this week, the leak of 2 fascinating outtakes from Frida's solo album Shine. Hey, so the 2 newly leaked Frida songs recorded 40 years ago are titled When Love Turns to Lies and Can't Be Serious. In this video we are first going to talk about the origins, where do these songs come from and what happened to them. Then I will give you my personal opinion about the 2 songs. In 1984, Frida's second solo album in English was released. Shine also became her final solo album in English language. Frida was confident and happy with the album, and there were even plans for another album in 1985. However, Shine was not the success Frida was hoping for. It's even more unfortunate because the creation of Shine was one of Frida's most ambitious and creative projects in terms of her own progression and self-discovery as an artist and songwriter. Already in 1983, Frida started to write many of her own compositions, as far as I know, for the first time ever, certainly to this prolific extent. Only one self-written song would end up on the album, the magnificent ballad Don't Do It. Another Frida co-write became a single B-side and one of my personal favorites, the song That's Tough. And now it gets interesting. During the actual recording sessions for the album, Frida continued to explore different styles and approaches, and she recorded many more songs from other songwriters which were not included on the album and left unreleased to this day. And this leads us to today's topic. In an early press release announcing the album, we got to read, amongst familiar songs from the finished album, 3 outtakes from Shine. I'm One of God's Children, Can't Be Serious, and When Love Turns to Lies. And the latter 2 have now finally come to see the light of day in fan circles. So how did these 2 songs end up on the internet for all of us to hear? This goes back 3 years ago to the year 2021. On the music database discogs.com there are 2 entries for unofficial single releases from a fan in Germany who pressed these 2 unreleased outtakes as B-sides on unofficial 7-inch vinyl singles. Apparently, they were sold to a limited number of fans. How these 2 songs ended up in pristine quality with a fan, I don't know. But this week, the first week of June 2024, both songs were finally uploaded to all fans by someone on YouTube. The original upload came from a channel called Duran Terile. Very quickly, those uploads were deleted by Universal Music because of a copyright claim. Just one day later, someone else uploaded them on another YouTube channel, JWK. And this is where the 2 songs are still up. So make sure to listen to them and also to download those 2 songs from the uploads. They could disappear very quickly again. If you have listened to them, we can now talk about my personal reflection of these 2 outtakes from Shine. I can tell you, my weekend has been full with these 2 songs. Ever since I listened to them, they continue to play in my head, and I can't get enough of them. We have almost nothing comparable to these 2 recordings, to their context and their nature. That makes them very unique. Even better, these 2 songs complement each other perfectly. One ballad, one more uptempo. When Love Turns to Lies is a ballad with heartfelt lyrics and singing from Frida. One very special melodic passage which I love very much is when she sings, "What's that you say, you were gonna leave me anyway. Any fool can see what you've done to me." This section precedes the singing of the song's title, When Love Turns to Lies. Can't Be Serious was almost an instant favorite of mine. To me, this song is so catchy. I love the way Frida sings in many parts of the song. Her voice goes high, then is scattered across the stereo sound. Like on the ballad, Frida sings backing vocals, harmonies and echoes of her voice. In this song, there is this unmistakable experimental characteristic which also colors the entire Shine album, a curiosity to explore. Can't Be Serious, to me, is full of really addicting elements, especially in Frida's voice and her way of singing, but also in the unexpected and adventurous melodies. Some moments in the song remind me slightly of the style of Twist in the Dark, and that's tough. I love the ending of the song, the final minute, with a lengthy, repetitive vocal chant. In 1985, both songs were recorded by English rock and blues artists. When Love Turns to Lies was recorded by the songwriter himself, Chris Ray, for his 7th studio album Shamrock Diaries. Can't Be Serious was recorded by Ginny Klee. On the single by Ginny, the songwriting is credited to be written by 2 other songwriters. However, on the unofficial 7-inch single leak from Frida's recording, the song is credited to be written by Anni-Frid herself. This leak came as a total surprise to me. A leak like this of unreleased songs in full length and in pristine quality doesn't happen very often, especially nowadays. I think it's great to have 2 brand new outtakes from Shine, previously unreleased. This is exactly the stuff that I love and appreciate so much. It expands our understanding of the creation, it gives insight and context to the recording session and to the creative decisions. I'm sure many of you have listened to the 2 newly leaked outtakes. If not, listen to them and let me know your thoughts about Frida's When Love Turns to Lies and Can't Be Serious, and share your feelings about this leak. Thank you for listening and watching. Alright, until then, hey do!